Victor Wimbanyama is about to get robbed of the Defensive Player of the Year trophy by Rudy freaking Gobert. Or is he? This is easily the most controversial Defensive Player of the Year race I've seen in a very long time, maybe since 2013, which we're going to talk about later. But first, let's talk about two of the three finalists, Victor Wimbanyama and Rudy Gobert, starting with Wimby. Wimby is something straight out of a horror film. The impact he's had defensively as a rookie literally is not normal. Now, we have had incredible rookie defenders this year as well as in the past, like Walker Kessler, Evan Mobley, Chet Holmgren, Azir Thompson, Amin Thompson, and some others I'm probably forgetting about, but Victor's defense is showing up in the stat sheet. So even if some of those defenders I just mentioned were better defenders than Wimby, it's hard to make that argument because, like I said, he's dominated the blocks per game averages, the most accessible defensive stat in the world. What makes him so impactful is a combination of three things: him being 7'5", shot blocking instincts, and his athleticism. Without even one of those three things, this kid wouldn't be in the race at all. It's such a rare combination, and that's why he's so effective. We've seen players with his instincts. We've seen players with his athleticism, but not both of those things at that height with that wingspan. It's kind of like comparing Kyrie Irving and Paul George on offense. Yeah, sure, Irving can literally do everything George can with the basketball in terms of ball handling ability and the ability to create off the dribble, but the difference is George is 6'10" and weighs somewhere around 30 pounds more. It just isn't fair. It's the same situation with Wimby. Plenty of players have instincts and athleticism on defense, but no one has his height, which puts him in a league of his own. It doesn't matter how young you are. When you have those physicals and defensive skills, you would have the same, if not more, defensive impact than the majority of the defenders in basketball. Just by default, he can affect plays. Wimby can literally just be standing in the paint, staring into the crowd, and that would be enough for the offense to move away from him. That alone is why he's in the race. He passes the numbers and the eye test, which are the best things to use when judging a player's defensive ability. Unfortunately, like 98% of fans don't know how to actually judge defense without looking at blocks. For example, his drop coverage defense is pretty damn good. The drop coverage is the most used defensive coverage in the NBA, used by all teams. So if you as a center can be elite defending in this coverage, you're gonna have a lot of success. Now see, a lot of fans have no idea what drop coverage is, or many of the other coverages centers like Wimby's are consistently being used in. But now let's switch to the award frontrunner, Rudy Gobert. If you're seriously saying that he doesn't deserve Defensive Player of the Year again, then you need to stop watching basketball. Please. It's okay to give your opinion on who you think should win the award, but to say one defender doesn't deserve it is a pathetic thing to say if you ask me. For example, I think Gobert should and will win Defensive Player of the Year. But if someone like Wimby or Bam Adebayo wins it, I wouldn't say stupid things like Wimby or Bam didn't deserve it, and say Rudy Gobert got robbed. The reality of the award is this: every single year, there are like 8 or 9 defenders who deserve the award. Bam, AD, Rudy, Wimby, Chet Holmgren, Herb Jones, Jonathan Isaac, Jaden McDaniels, Alex Caruso, Jarrett Allen. They all deserve the award if we're being honest. They all have single-handedly carried their defense into some of the top rankings in the NBA, all while being anchors and defensive stoppers. Some are even anchors and defensive stoppers at the same time, like Caruso and Jonathan Isaac. It's just insane. But, of course, only one player can win the award, and that player will undoubtedly be Rudy Gobert. I don't know if you guys know this, but he's literally anchoring one of the best defenses of all time. Without him, they were a good defense, but not this good. Even when the Wolves had Jared Vanderbilt, Jaden McDaniels, and Anthony Edwards, their defense still wasn't nearly this good. It wasn't until Rudy Gobert came and settled in that this defense took off. That's what you call impact, and it shouldn't be a surprise. I sound like a broken record, but Gobert literally carried awful defensive rosters to top 3 rankings back in Utah, and everyone still clowned him and said he didn't deserve it. Now that Rudy's finally been blessed with a great supporting cast, everyone is choosing to clown him even more and say he shouldn't win because he has a better defensive team than Wimby, which is absolutely ridiculous. How does that even make sense? We've seen some of the most stacked defensive rosters ever still not rank higher than the Wolves in defensive rating, and that's because of Rudy Gobert. The Celtics have one of the most stacked defensive teams in NBA history, yet they still don't rank higher than the Wolves. But guess what? If you placed Gobert on the Celtics, I guarantee they would be number 1. You know why I'm so confident of that happening? Because he's already done it. with the Wolves and the Jazz a few years back or so. So if you only take away one thing from this video, let it be this. No matter who wins the award, don't say that person didn't deserve it, because like I said, there are a handful of defenders who deserve the award. This year, it's Gobert's turn. Next year, it may be Wimby's or AD's turn or whoever. They all deserve it. Point blank, period. Gobert deserves it, and Wimby deserves it. I do really love the attention to the defensive side of the ball, though. Usually, the Defensive Player of the Year award is thrown to the side by the fans, but this year, since Wimby is so popular, a lot of light has been shined on the award. This is why I think this race is the most hyped and controversial one we've seen since 2013 between LeBron and Marc Gasol. Entering the 2013 NBA season, LeBron James had firmly established himself as the league's premier talent, a transcendent superstar, known for his versatility on both ends, athleticism and basketball IQ. And despite his offensive exploits garnering the lion's share of attention and accolades, LeBron had quietly evolved into one of the most feared defenders in the game, capable of guarding multiple positions and anchoring the Miami Heat's suffocating defense. On the opposite side of the spectrum stood Marc Gasol, the towering Spanish center for the Memphis Grizzlies, whose defensive ability and basketball IQ had garnered widespread acclaim throughout the league. With his imposing size, impeccable positioning, and innate shot-blocking instincts, Gasol had emerged as the leader of the Grizzlies' vaunted defense, a unit renowned for its physicality, tenacity, and ability to stifle opposing offenses. As the 2013 NBA season unfolded, LeBron James and Marc Gasol emerged as the frontrunners in the race for Defensive Player of the Year award, with both players posting impressive defensive statistics and making significant contributions to their respective team's success. LeBron's versatility and ability to guard all 5 positions, coupled with his elite steals and block numbers, gained him widespread recognition and praise from fans and analysts alike. Meanwhile, Gasol's rim protection, defensive rebounding, and defensive win shares painted a compelling picture of his impact on the Grizzlies' defensive identity. Despite their statistical parity, the narrative surrounding LeBron James and Marc Gasol's DPOY candidacy was heavily influenced by prevailing perceptions and biases within the basketball community. However, as the regular season drew to a close and the DPOY voting neared its conclusion, anticipation and speculation reached a fever pitch among NBA fans and insiders. When Marc Gasol was ultimately crowned the 2013 Defensive Player of the Year, narrowly edging out LeBron James in the voting, a wave of controversy and outcry erupted across the basketball world. Many argued that LeBron's defensive impact and versatility were unfairly overlooked in favor of Gasol's traditional big man statistics. One thing that I hear a lot from the whole Wimby and Gobert debate is that Gobert is only going to win because he has the better team. And I mean, well, that's not the only reason, but it is a large reason. The Defensive Player of the Year award is really a team award. Sure, it has the word player in its name, but let's be real, folks, it's always been a team award too, just like the MVP. Do you think the NBA would ever give the award to a player who missed the playoffs? No. LeBron James averaged 30 freaking points per game a few years ago and wasn't even close to winning it. You know why? Because his team missed the playoffs and their offense wasn't nearly as good as the numbers were suggesting. Wemby's been great, but why would they give the award to someone whose team is ranked 22nd in defensive rating? No one cares about what the rating is when he's on and off the floor. Those statistics have literally never been used for any other defender in NBA history for the race. So why should we make Wemby an exception all because he's the most popular player in the NBA? We can't be biased here, we need to be logical. Rudy Gobert carried worse defensive rosters than Wemby's to top 3 rankings and still didn't get much credit. So why should we give Wemby more credit when his team is ranked 22nd? No one ever brought up Gobert's on and off the court stats, just the overall team stats, because that's how the best defenders in the NBA are judged. So we have to judge Wemby accordingly. The Wolves are first, led by Gobert, and the Spurs are 22nd, led by Wemby. End of story. That's how the NBA has always looked at it. So to sum up the video, Rudy Gobert will win the award from the logical and on-court defensive impact standpoint. Now, does that mean Wemby, AD, or Bam, etc. doesn't deserve it? Again, of course not. But this year, the award is Gobert's, and rightfully so. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.